So the original graph that's given to us, y equals 1 over x squared, is a graph you did in grade 11. Do you remember the volcano graph? I'm not sure if your teacher called it that. A reciprocal graph of a parabola. And so we're starting with that. It has asymptotes, which I'm going to draw in nicer with a dotted red line. And in this one, they use the word describe. The grade 12 course wants you to use words. It wants you to use English to talk about things. They have some questions where you're only allowed to use words on the exam. You can't show much math. Just have to describe things clearly in words. So describe how the graph of y equals 1 over x squared could have been translated to get each graph below. So in A, I would take the time, first of all, to move that 3 over to the other side. And we have to decide, is that 3 inside the function or outside of the function? In this case, it would be outside the function. So if we had to describe it, the graph of y equals 1 over x squared has been translated three units up. Our original asymptotes are at x equals 0 and y equals 0 on this graph. If I translated it 3 units up, well, my x equals 0 asymptote would stay the same, but my horizontal asymptote would now be at y equals 3. In part B, again, I would take the time to move that 4 over. And when describing this one, I could say the graph of y equals 1 over x squared has been translated. Well, the plus 3 is where the x was. That's inside the function. I would describe that as going 3 units left, and the minus 4 would be 4 units down. They didn't ask us to graph these, but we could. Anytime I'm graphing a function with asymptotes, I like to graph my asymptotes first. So in this case, if you moved 3 to the left, your asymptote that was at x equals 0 is now at x equals minus 3, which makes sense because minus 3 would be your non-permissible value. That's what would cause you to divide by 0. And your horizontal asymptote, which started at y equals 0, if you moved it 4 down, would now be at y equals negative 4. Questions 16 and 17 for practice.